Der Ai Weiwei ist der berühmteste chinesische zeitgenössische Künstler und ein harter Kritiker von der chinesischen Regierung. 2011 ist er 81 Tage im Gefängnis gesessen in China. Mittlerweile lebt er im Exil in Portugal. Er beobachtet die Diskussion um die Winterspiele in Peking ganz genau. Verschiedene Regierungen, wie zum Beispiel die USA, Japan, aber auch Dänemark, haben sich entschieden, die Eröffnungsfeier zu boykottieren. Für den Ai Weiwei ist das die falsche Strategie.
It's not only zero, only tells China how the West lost its strength and ability to do anything stronger, because the West doing that basically to please their own audience, to say, hey, we are still doing something, but that's ridiculous to boycott a sport events. There's so many million things you can do, but you just use that as some kind of excuse, which is ridiculous. For Chinese, they said very clear. They said, "What are you talking about? You boycott? You're not even invited." I don't think the West has ability or even in the position can speak about human rights to China anymore. The West have enough problems, facing enough challenge with human rights on their own domestic issues. So, China would laughing if the West still use human rights as or democracy or some kind of bargain chip. So China knows it and the West knows it. I think the West cannot do that much because the West is so much depending China. China become China because the West. The West build China stronger and have more space to make an argument. And Switzerland is a much smaller nation, so of course Switzerland is taking great advantage of being push its financial world into China. And this is also nothing can change, business is a business.
2008, you did design together with Swiss architects the bird nest, and as I understood at that time, the architecture should have symbolized freedom, openness, but it turned out to be a completely different thing.
Yes, we have our goodwill, but of course we were naive, and also being proved it's not working the same direction.
You've been a critic of the IOC as well. What do you see the IOC, with what eyes? You called it once an enabler.
I think from 2008 I realized IOC is just a business model. It try to maximize its profit. Doesn't matter who they collaborating with, and very often they're on the side of the propaganda, which is a difficult position for any business like that, because you're in the global spotlight, but same times you're not defending very essential values, and you glamorize the authoritarian machine. So it's extremely awkward situation. I think they really shake the foundation why they should exist at all. People would think, why we need the Olympics.
I had the IOC in my talk show, and I asked them, why can you not position yourself towards the human rights violations in China? And they just said they can't. They don't do it, they can't, because then they would end the political stage. But isn't it political anyway?
You ask the right question. Not only how they say the International Olympic Committee, but almost every business. If you ask them, they would give you exact same answer. If you ask the U.S. Hollywood companies or European film industry, nobody want to say no to China because that's the market. It's like you kill yourself if you don't you defend those values.
But is there any critics you have towards the IOC?
It's a huge event, and IOC has been played not a clean or not a pleasant image, and which is insulting to human spirit and insulting to all the sport people, and it put a mixed with propaganda, nationalism, and also played a political role in the wrong side of history, and they will be remembered.
Are you frustrated that it's taking place again after you called it 2008 a low point?
2008 was much simpler. If we look back, the communist China just want to have all the glory and to show the world we are part of you. Look how China achieved. But by 2022, the tone completely changed. China think we are better, we are stronger, and we will show you how a new world order is going to be. So it's a bit arrogant and ridiculous, but that's the undertone.
2011, you've been jailed in China for unspecific reasons, unspecific crimes. Nothing was clear. And you live in exile since then, at the moment in Portugal. Do you think you can ever go back?
Well, my mind and my heart is always with China, and I'm still a Chinese citizen, passport holder, so I can go back any moment, I suppose. But the problem is, do I still have liberty to go out, or do I have to be put away for some time? So that is the question.